please welcome to the stage. We've seen her in Grimm, we've seen her in Superman and Lois. Please welcome Elizabeth Tulloch. Come on out.
Hey everyone. I have to say, this is actually the first time I've ever done a con that I've done a panel alone. So I feel a little... Like,
we got you. We totally got you, yeah?
You, me and Ben. And also, just so everyone knows, and I know at Tyler's panel he said this too, I can't see any of your faces. It's like a sort of backlit with a purple glow, which is trippy.
Yeah. So every time in a panel when someone says, "Oh, you're all so beautiful," they have no idea. Yeah. You don't know the faces they're pulling out there while they're asking questions. No, it's fine. It's fine. So, how's your trip to Australia? What have you enjoyed so far?
Well,
let's get that out the way first.
I've been here before. I love Australia.
Good.
I have done a con here before. I used to actually live, I lived here for a few months in my early 20s, and I lived in Sydney, and it was amazing, and I traveled a bunch.
Please don't judge Australia just on Sydney, says the guy from Melbourne.
Amazing. But I just felt so grateful because I hadn't heard of the Vivid Light show before. And so just the fact that it coincided and I was able to go down and check that out on Friday night, Tyler and I walked down and looked at it, and it was awesome. Who went to that?
Yeah.
Beautiful, right? Incredible. Yeah, really special.
I think that's one thing that we do quite well in Sydney and Melbourne and basically Australia is those big public events to encourage everybody out to come together and do some really cool stuff, like, you know, Vivid, and we've got Rising in Melbourne, and
what's that?
It's basically a similar sort of thing, but it's got a lot of arts and culture surrounding different precincts in the city, so it's considered to be just a big festival. And you know, Sydney's also got Mardi Gras, which is amazing, one of the best, and heaps of other cool stuff. So you're right, we do that quite well here, I think. So apart from cruising around and doing that, that's wonderful. How's the work stuff going? I mean, you are one of the busiest people.
Well, we just got renewed for a season 4, which is really exciting. Superman and Lois. As I'm sure some of you may have read, the seasons will be shorter. It's 10 episodes, and there have been some changes because of budgetary reasons. But Tyler and I are really excited to get back to work whenever the writer's strike ends, because right now, writers and actors might be striking soon too. So.
Yeah. So when in America, when there's a writer's strike,
right,
does everyone apart from the writers do their thing, and they just go, "It's okay, we'll just freestyle it for a bit." And go.
Yeah, it totally affects everyone. They're striking for very good reasons, and the WGA has a sort of pens down policy right now, so...
They've revoked everyone's pen license.
Yeah, so they can't even really start planning out or plotting season 4 until the strike is over. So everything, Superman and Lois notwithstanding, will likely have a bit of a delay.
And the only things that don't have a delay are things that don't have writers and are rubbish content.
No comment.
So we're going to get some questions from you guys. So while we're talking about shorter seasons, is that art imitating life, courtesy of global warming? Our seasons are changing?
Sure.
All right, first question, no pressure at all. Okay, here we go.
Why do you like being called Betsy?
Bitsie was it's funny because it's such a diminutive name, and it's cutesy, and that's part of why anybody who's here because of Grimm would know that the first 5 seasons of Grimm I went for billing as Bitsie Tulloch, and then when I was I think right before the 6th season of Grimm I switched it to Elizabeth, which is my legal name, but Bitsie was my grandfather's nickname. Was a bomber pilot in World War II and the Korean War and the Cold War, and his name was Walter Scott. But his older sister Catherine used to always call him Bitsie, and he and I were always very close from the time I was born. And so my grandmother was an Elizabeth. I'm kind of named after both of them. And I answered to both, but you'll notice some people who know me more from Superman and Lois will call me Elizabeth, and then they're a little surprised when I typically will sign Bitsie instead of Elizabeth, but I go by both. But it's just very natural. I'm used to being called Bitsie or Bits or, Elizabeth. The one thing I don't like answering to is Liz. I don't like being called Liz. It's not for me.
I love that, because here in Australia we're just bang on nicknames.
Yeah.
Really supportive of that. All right, next question.
Hi, Bitsie. I'm Terence from yesterday.
I'm Ben from today.
One question. In real life, do people assume you and Tyler are dating or married?
I am married, so no. I'm married to my co-star on Grimm. His name is David Gintoli, and I think Tyler and I do have great chemistry on screen. I think if you didn't know that I was married in real life, maybe you would think, oh, they have great chemistry. I wonder, but no,
It's
I'm
called
happily.
acting.
Yeah.
Good work.
No, well, we do. We get along really well, and I do adore him. But I'm happily married, and I have a child with my actual husband.
Okay. That's helpful. Thanks for clarifying. All right, next question.
Okay, my question is, what was it like working with the cast of the Arrowverse, i.e. Grant Gustin, Stephen Amell, and all those?
Everybody is really lovely, and when I first started shooting as Lois, I was actually 5 or 6 months pregnant, and I booked the role. And
With
I
the
came
child
up,
from your real husband.
Yes, with a child. And I flew up just to do The Flash and Supergirl, and that was for the Elseworlds crisis. And I think I was mainly working with Melissa, and people don't really know this. I had never met Tyler before I was cast. So we had no chemistry read, no audition together. We really just got lucky that we worked together so well. But all of the cast was incredible up here. Melissa is just very bubbly and warm and wonderful, and Grant is a huge Superman fan. So he was kind of fun to be around because he was totally geeking out. At the first time I was playing Lois, we were shooting at, I think it was the farm from Smallville, actually, kind of out east of Vancouver, and Tyler kind of opened the shirt and with the Superman suit underneath, and Grant actually was like legitimately fanboying over this moment, and it was just really sweet. And Steven's great, and then and then the next year it was Crisis, and Tyler and I did cameos on 5 of them. It was like Legends and Supergirl and The Flash and Batwoman and Arrow, and everyone was wonderful.
Do you know the thing I love most about Superman and Lois is that we know that, and you were just saying about fanboying over Superman, we know that it's not real. Our brain tells us it's not real. But we all want to be knowingly hoodwinked into this amazing universe and world where those values are so important to us and held high, and seeing all of those things play out and having the comfort of that. And I think that's where your skill as an actor really brings us, the audience, such a range of comfort and happiness and joy as we see your character go through that. Season after season after season. There was no question, there was more a statement. All right, next question.
I do. I think that's one of the reasons I'm proud of the show is that, life is hard. We started filming during the pandemic. There was a lot going on. It was a very difficult time for a lot of people, and continues to be. The repercussions are still felt, and I think that it would be easy to fall into a trap of something being tainted with cynicism, and I don't feel like we are. I think the idea of Superman and the crest, and it's all about hope, and I think that our showrunners understand that.
All right, our next question. No, stand up. I'm not coming to you. I did that last time and it just didn't work. All right, here we go.
Hey Bitsy, is there any chance of David making an appearance on the next season?
On the next season as an actor? I don't know. That's a really good question. David actually has voiced Batman in a few of the DC animated films. Actually, I was watching one of them on the plane. I think it's called The Doom That Came to Gotham. My husband has voiced Batman, and so I don't know if he could easily come onto the show, like if that's a conflict with DC Comics or something. I think that would be really cool. I know he would love to direct. He's been directing. He directed on Grimm. He directed on his show that just ended, A Million Little Things. And I would love for him to direct an episode of Superman and Lois. But I'm not sure as an actor if it's a conflict with the voice work he's done as Batman.
All right, our next question. Can you make it just long enough for me to eat this little lemon lolly that someone gave me?
Crunch
Okay.
it.
Yeah, crunch it. Oh, that's my jaw. All right, question.
What was your favorite episode or favorite moment in Grimm? I'm a massive Grimm fan, and do you think it would ever come back?
Oh, there was
That's a good lolly.
It had to. I think it was season 6, maybe episode 6 or 7. It's called like Love Struck or something. It was the one where everybody basically falls in love with everyone else, and just hijinks ensue. And it was a really fun episode to shoot too, because we were all on location. And that was really the only time we were so far out of Portland that people ended up spending the night on location. But that was fun. That was just such a fun cast. Bree Turner remains one of my best friends, and we were. Somebody dressed up yesterday as Rosalie and had the Spice Shop T-shirt on and was dressed as a Fuchsbau. So I texted it to her. I don't know if that person is here, but Bree said to say very cute. And I liked that one. I also really loved filming the La Llorona episode. The showrunners of Grimm, Jim Kauf and David Greenwalt, were always really, really generous about anybody who spoke a different language or wanted to honor their culture in some way. I know Sasha speaks some Russian, Silas was speaking German, Reggie was speaking Tagalog on the show, and I got to speak Spanish in that episode. But that story of La Llorona was one that I had heard as a child, growing up overseas in Spanish-speaking countries, and that was a really great, really fun episode to shoot as well. In addition to the one, they were great. Coming back as Eve was fun the first time with the wig and the sort of leather pantsuit. I just had a blast on that show, and Portland was amazing. I miss Portland, Oregon a lot. David and I talk about it a lot fondly. Like, should we ever just move back there? We loved our time there.
All right. My favourite thing about all of these panels is how the text comes up on the screen. When you were talking about all the different languages, it was saying something like "a man talking to garlic," and I thought that's going to be on my T-shirt. All right, next question.
My question is about how did it feel to do the cancer storyline with Lois this season, knowing that they found that there was diagnosis of breast cancer tissue prior to the season. How did it feel like doing that storyline and dealing with Lois's issues and feeling like I nearly had that?
I don't have breast cancer.
They found breast tissue.
Well, you would know because it's you. So how did the cancer storyline affect you?
Well, let me answer you. I had learned in the process. This might be what you're getting at. I had learned in the process of studying for this storyline. I had finally gotten a mammogram for the first time. And I hadn't had one yet because I kind of just, when I was younger, I didn't need to. And I did learn that I have dense breast tissue, if that's what you're talking about. And I hadn't known that before.
Yes, I'm saying nods, yes.
Yeah. And so what was interesting about that is that you, and I didn't know any of this, so I'm told you're gonna play the storyline, if it's okay with you, very collaborative, and it's going to be something called inflammatory breast cancer stage 3. Very, very aggressive, very deadly kind of breast cancer. I immediately start sort of throwing myself into research, speaking to a lot of cancer survivors, speaking to oncologists and surgeons, but also realized I need to get a mammogram, it's time. And at that point, when I did the mammogram, they said, you have dense breast tissue, which is important for everyone to know because men get breast cancer too. And when you have dense breast tissue, it kind of shows up as white on a mammogram, and that's kind of what cancer looks like too. So you also have to, they encourage you to do ultrasounds in addition. So now I have to get an ultrasound every year, but I didn't have anything, you know, they basically were like, come back and do an ultrasound, and it was good for me to know, and now I can kind of stay on top of it. And I really do encourage, I spoke to probably 12 cancer survivors, maybe 11, getting ready for the storyline, and some of them were diagnosed in their mid to late 20s. There was a mother who had 3 kids who's diagnosed in her early 30s while she was breastfeeding her 3rd kid. And you know, prevention is key, and doing, you know, breast exams is really, really important. And more than anything, because I probably about a quarter of the people I talked to, like a high amount, had suspicions, had sensed something up with their body, and just something didn't feel right, or there was a nagging pain or a lump, or just like something was feeling off, and they had gone to go see a doctor, and the doctor was really dismissive. You're fine. The blood work's normal, whatever. And, you know, a couple of those people just listened to their gut and went back or got a second opinion from another doctor. And, you know, there was, whether it was an early stage or whatever, it was actually positive for breast cancer. So, yeah, early detection is key. And it was it was an intense storyline. I mean, I have been really moved yesterday and today of how many people have come up to me when I'm signing and have said, I'm going through it myself, or I lost somebody, or my best friend just lost somebody. It is so pervasive, and it is so prevalent, and it's just really heartbreaking. And I remember when Tyler and I first found out they were going to delve into this subject matter, it was a little bit of a tenuous situation because it's so serious, and this is a superhero show. And I would say overall, the vast majority of the feedback we've gotten has been really positive in a way, whether it's cathartic or, you know, thank you for just showing kind of the nitty-gritty aspect of it as opposed to a kind of glossy TV version. I mean, it can be ugly. It is ugly. It's an ugly disease. But it doesn't always have to be a death sentence. So again, early prevention is key, and sorry for going on and on, but I just learned so much in this process. Thank you for the question, and sorry I was confused at first.
Yeah, it's actually a really important topic to talk about, and I don't think we talk about that sort of stuff enough in these open forums. So thanks for doing that research into that role and being so open about it, because prevention is definitely much better than cure.
Just my opinion, but I think the casting in the whole Arrowverse has been superb, and I think that's something that DC isn't really good at as far as the movies go.
Definitely no comment. Yeah.
Have you guys, over the shows, has anybody ever heard any rumblings that you may have been cast in the movies? Because, for example, I have no idea why they passed on Grant Gustin as the Flash for Ezra Miller. That's just my opinion, not meaning to offend anybody. I just wondered, it's kind of something that to me was staring them in the face as far as you've got a built-in audience with all of you guys across the different shows, and it was just ignored.
I can't really touch that question with a 10-foot pole for obvious reasons. I know everybody really has their favorite cast, and I know people get really enthusiastic about that, and I understand that. I do want to give a quick shout out to the man who cast most of, if not all of the Arrowverse shows, David Rappaport. He's a wonderful casting director. He does a ton of stuff with Berlanti, and he is excellent, and he's the one who called me in And I was sort of like, I don't know, I'm pregnant, I'm not feeling great. And he's like, I really feel like you or Lois come in and audition. And so he's the one who found me and pushed me, and he's wonderful. All I will say is I have the utmost respect for all of the other actors who have played Lois Lane. I really can't speak for anyone else. I've never seen the other films. The only film I've ever seen was one of the Donner films with Christopher Reeve and Margot Kidder, and I loved it. But once I was cast in this role, and Tyler hasn't seen anything either, we both pointedly decided we didn't want to be influenced by any other characters and what they were doing. We had to just trust in the process that we were cast at this moment in time for this reason and do the best we can with the material that we're given. And again, I respect that people are really opinionated and have their favorite versions of the characters, and other people will too, and a lot of respect for every actor. You know, there will be other actors who play these roles after us. There have been other actors before us, and nothing but love and respect for all of them.
Okay, next question.
Hi, Elizabeth. I asked a similar question to Tyler yesterday. Because you're playing a character that means so much to so many people. Lois means just as much as Superman, I believe. So what does Lois Lane mean to you?
It's a really good question. I didn't know a ton about how sort of important and beloved she was until I got the role, because I'd only seen that one film, and I remember being really drawn to Margot Kidder's performance because she was just so charismatic and sassy and fun and driven. But then when I really started learning more about it, you know, Lois was introduced at the same time that Superman was in Action Comics #1, like 85 years ago. And that was a moment in time when I think women were more portrayed in, you know, media or in novels or in comic books or whatever as being more demure or deferential to the man, and she wasn't. And I think that was huge. That was really important for people to have a model of someone who was, you know, feminine and strong and a bulldog and determined and uncompromising. And she has, you know, for the most part, remained that way and had her own comic book and everything. But she's pretty much been, there's certain characteristics of Lois Lane that haven't changed that much. And obviously every is different. The writers are different. The actresses who played her are different. But some of the characteristics that have remained the same are this sort of doggedness and determination. And I like that. I like playing that. And I think for me, I've been so grateful being able to play a mother. Lois Lane as a mother, and just being able to be this mama bear and a bulldog, and also deal with, you know, daily life and struggles and socioeconomic stuff. Like I part of why I'm so proud of the show is just that I feel like Superman and Lois has been really grounded in reality, and that's why people find it relatable and like watching it, because it reminds them of things they're going through themselves. So you do have that ability to kind of lose yourself in the superhero aspect and hope and dream that there is this hero that's going to fly in and save us all, but also the human side of Clark and Superman too, and Lois. Like, what are the qualities about her that I myself possess?
All of them. All right, next question.
On your time at the CW, you've met so many people like, like Tyler, pretty much everyone on the CW who tried to make you laugh on set.
Yeah.
Who has tried to make me laugh the hardest on set?
Yeah, who's the funniest on set?
Oh, I mean, Tyler, I don't know. First of all, I'm extremely ticklish. If I like see a finger approaching my waist, I start giggling, and he knows that. So he and I just have so much fun together, and I'm so grateful for him. But it is definitely a lot of giggles on set, and I don't think I have ever laughed harder on a set as when I am on set with him. Whether he's just a tease, and I'm one of those people. I like being teased. I think it's fun.
All right, so the budget blowout is courtesy of Tyler causing takes that need to be redone again.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, fair enough. That's what I'm hearing. Okay.
So Michael Bishop, an Australian actor, has taken over the role of Jonathan Kent. What's he been like to work with?
He's absolutely lovely. I'm actually going to try to see him while I'm here. I think it was tough being thrown into that position out of the blue in the middle of between seasons of a show when another actor has already established that character. I don't know if many people know this, but Michael actually had, I think, screen tested, or he'd come awfully close to booking the role to begin with. And so it was a pretty easy phone call to make to say, would you like to come back? But that whole situation, I can't really speak to. It's not my place. I miss Jordan Elsass very much. He's a wonderful kid, and he was a terrific actor. And it was strange being thrown into it so fast, because we didn't know what was happening until it was close to starting to film season 3. And then Tyler and I basically auditioned with a couple actors, and Michael was very clearly the choice, and also handled it really well. I think it was probably a little crazy at first to just suddenly show up on a set when everyone's used to somebody else, and I think he did a lovely job, and he handled the whole situation with grace and integrity, and I think he's terrific, and I'm glad he's a part of the show.
All right, our next question, up the back here.
Hi. When you and Tyler were cast in the roles, were there ever any concerns that you might be typecast and just seen as those characters, even though you came from other successful shows?
I never really thought about that. Maybe that certainly does happen when somebody starts seeing you as this one character alone. I think if this had been the only bigger thing I had done, for sure you might get typecast as that. But I feel like he and I have had long enough resumes and played other roles that hopefully it won't just be this. But also, I love this role, and I'm going to carry this with me for the rest of my life. It has been such a blessing being able to inhabit this woman's, skin and bones and play Lois Lane. She is strong and powerful, and she's incredible, and I have so much respect for why people love her, and that's part of why I spend more time on social media than I should, asking people, asking for fan input. What are some of your favorite outfits that you've ever seen Lois in the comics? Let me then send that to the costume designer and try to do that on screen. And what are some of your favorite qualities of Lois Lane? Let me try to embody that more. I have such respect for why the fans of her and of Superman exist, and why they are such super fans.
Unrelated question. When you were doing research for...
Where are you?
Straight bang down the middle here.
Oh, okay.
Okay. When you were doing research for the character Lois Lane, as part of that research, did you ever just go, I wonder, and put it into Google Maps?
I don't get it.
Lois... Oh, never mind.
Oh. No, I did not.
All right,
I would imagine there's more than one. Yeah.
I would have just been curious. All right, next question. It's going to be way better than mine, I guarantee.
Has there ever been talks about a reunion for Grimm, ever?
Yeah, I mean, pretty regularly, because Bree and Claire and I have had to take a little bit of a backseat just because of my filming schedule, but we had started doing a Grimm rewatch podcast. And Claire and Bree do more of them, but it comes up a lot. And I know that Hazy Mills, which is the production company, Todd Milliner and Sean Hayes, they produce the podcast, and they had produced Grimm, and there's absolutely been discussion of, I don't know if it would be, a 7th series or if it would be more of a how Tyler did a Teen Wolf movie, but it's been discussed. I think a lot of that has to do with scheduling too, because some of us have, we're on other stuff, and everybody would need to be available at the same time. And, there were 8 series regulars on that cast, but I would do it in a heartbeat, and I know other people would too.
Walking around, getting the steps in. I've got a light now. Does it work? Yeah, it does work. There we go. Okay, here we go. Getting there. Hello, how are you? Great, here's a question.
Hi, Bitsie. Love Grimm, love Superman and Lois. Just curious, towards the end of season 2 of Superman and Lois, it was sort of subtly revealed that the show wasn't part of the Arrowverse anymore. You're sort of playing different versions of the characters. I was wondering if that's something that you were made aware of, or whether, or not, and if so, did that affect your portrayal of the characters?
No, I honestly don't really understand a lot of that, and my impression, truly, I don't, and I don't know that anyone really gets it that well, but what happened to us was that we were supposed to start filming in March of 2020. March of 2020. That obviously did not happen. We started filming in the fall instead, and I think there was initially some plan for it to sort of be more of a part of the Arrowverse, and when we started the show, there'd been a lot of talks about doing a crossover with Batwoman, which I'd been stoked about. I had a lot of fun on the crossovers, but I think, the reality is the COVID protocols on set were really strict, especially season 1 and season 2. And
Would have been easier on Batman because there's a mask already.
Right. But I don't quite get it, and I don't know that anyone else does either. And I feel like the only person that can really answer those questions are the writers.
And we can't talk to them because they're on strike now.
Yeah, and they're on strike, so they can't. Yeah, I have no idea. I know that they kind of started doing our own thing. It was sort of working to keep us a little bit separate, and then that's what they continued with. That has not affected me really at all. Like I look at each script individually as Lois. There have been some characters that have appeared in both, like David Ramsey and Diggle, but no, that hasn't been something that I personally have had to concern myself with that much.
All right, next question.
Hi, Betsy. I wanted to ask, do you have a favorite or least favorite special effects that you have to participate in?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Do you have a favorite or a least favorite special effect that you have to be part of?
Special effects that I have to be part of?
Stunts, special effects, anything that's a bit different for you to do that you go, oh, I've got to do that again.
No, the green screen stuff is fun. They've never had me really dangling from the wires. Usually when Tyler and I are, flying and kissing or something, it's on. It is actually really uncomfortable because it's like I'm on a Lazy Susan. Any of you have a Lazy Susan, or like your grandma had a Lazy Susan on the kitchen table and you spin it around and there's like ketchup and salt and pepper? So they have us on this thing with the green screen in the background, and I'm clumsy and I don't have good balance, so I'm usually hanging onto Tyler for dear life, and they're spinning us around really, really slowly. So that's always a little bit like, oh God, I always get a little bit dizzy. So don't love doing that. We've had amazing stunt people on this show, and on Grimm too. Grimm, we had a few Emmy nominations for Matt Taylor, who was our stunt coordinator on Grimm, and our VFX team. I just want to give a shout out to. It's like Matt Gore and everybody who's done the VFX on Superman and Lois has done an extraordinary job. To me, it looks, as good as some of the movies. It's so cinematic, it's so detailed and wonderful, and you can really see the amount of love they have for the show and for the characters in the work, in the VFX. Just something I've always been very proud of, and always really wanted to acknowledge that team for their incredible work.
When you're on the Lazy Susan, which happens to be my auntie's name, and we also called her Lazy Susan, and you get a little bit, and you get a little bit sick, spinning around.
Yeah.
Does your brain associate kissing Tyler with being sick?
No. It's true that usually what happens, actually every single take, you're kissing, you have to have your eyes closed, and then I'm clenching him and I can't open right away, because if I open too fast, I will get really dizzy. So it has to be a bit of a slow thing. But no, I do not get nauseated when I kiss Tyler Hoechlin. I can't imagine anybody would.
I don't know, I was just reading that whole thing with Pavlov's dog. It was just anyway. All right, next question.
Hi, Bitsie. Nice to speak to you.
You too.
Do you have a favourite episode of Superman and Lois that you?
I loved, and I feel like I'm probably not alone in this, episode 11 of season 1. It was a flashback episode. It was kind of more Lois meeting Clark and a lot of Daily Planet stuff. And there was Adam Man, and Gregory Smith directed it, who is our supervising producer who directs most of our episodes. And it was kind of fun, just going back to the sort of, comic book, less of an emphasis on the family because we didn't really have a family yet, and more just the early days of meeting and Daily Planet stuff. I love the journalist, the investigative reporting stuff, and that sometimes goes to the wayside when we're doing more family stuff. It was fun going back to the Daily Planet and walking around with like the press badge and all of that. I loved that episode.
All right, next question. I've learned how to use this torch thing now, and
That's very helpful.
It's very helpful. Look at me multitasking.
Hi Betsy, nice to meet you. Just wanted to ask the same sort of question as last time. What was your favourite episode of Grimm?
Well, I sort of alluded to this earlier. I loved the La Llorona episode, and then I the season 6 one I really loved. Was it called Love Struck? Does anybody know? The one where everyone falls in love with everyone else? There was one in season 6 that was really fun. The pilot episode was fun to shoot. The pilot episode.
The Love Triangle, was it?
No, and I was trying to think of
Bermuda
the name.
Triangle. No, that's different. I'm just making stuff up.
There was the pilot episode was really fun. Just I'd never been to Portland before, and I remember David and I. We were not dating yet. We were flying in together, and we had done a movie together actually, probably 6 months prior, called Carolyn and Jackie. And then we were playing love interests in the film, and then we were both cast as love interests in Grimm. And we were flying in, and it was such a gloomy day, and we were descending, and it was like March 2011. It was rainy, it was dark. It almost looked like you get it. It looks like what you would think the Black Forest in Germany would look like. And it was just such a beautiful experience. And Mark Buckland, he only directed the pilot. He didn't do any more after that. Was a wonderful director, and just getting to know everyone was cool. Originally, my character was named Juliet Anderson, and she was a baker, and we shot a scene. We shot scenes, and I was a baker, and like Nick's visiting her at work. And then I remember thinking, how is this going to sort of help as the storyline progresses and as the series progresses, being a baker? Like, when we're going to throw muffins at monsters? And it turns out the showrunners had the same idea, and when we got picked up the series, they switched. I'm not quite sure why the last name changed, but they switched to a veterinarian. But you can find that deleted scene online somewhere. It was like Juliet's, boulangerie or something. Yeah, so the pilot episode was great too. And then there was an episode with Bree that, I love that they did holiday episodes. Sometimes there were Halloween ones, and Monroe always went all out for like Christmas. And there was an episode that Bree and I were doing. We were in Monroe's house, and there were these little, creatures chasing us, and that was just so fun. They had so much fun with the character of Monroe, played by Silas Weird Mitchell.
Bakery still works as long as all the monsters are celiac.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where are you? Okay.
Have you actually been to the Black Forest?
I have not. No. There was some talk of going on location, but for budgetary reasons, that did not happen.
Well, it's worth going. It's lovely, and they make a nice cake too. All right, next question.
I've been there too. It's very nice there. 2 questions. One, Superman and Lois is a much more optimistic and positive view of Superman and Lois in the last few movies and that. One, was that a deliberate thing of the show writers and the writers to do? And 2, how much input do you and the actors have into your roles? Like, would you say Lois wouldn't do that, or Superman wouldn't do that? That kind of thing.
I can't speak for for any of the recent films. I really have never seen them. I see chatter online about people's opinions about films. They love them, they don't like them, whatever. I really haven't seen any of them. Just that one Donner film that I had seen, which I loved. So I don't know how much our showrunners were either wanting to pay homage or do their own thing. I really can't speak to that. Every so often, our writers are exceptional. Todd Helbing and the co-showrunner Brent Fletcher are awesome. We have wonderful writers on the show. For the most part, it's not like I have a lot of script changes. That said, they are really collaborative, and there have absolutely been times where I have felt that doesn't ring true for me. I don't know that Lois would say that. There have been times where I felt like that's a little too snarky, and I know she's kind of sassy and a bulldog, but I remember there was one line that just felt a little bit unkind to me, and I was like, I don't know that that's her. And everybody's always been really open to to changing it, and in that particular case, it was with somebody who was a jerk, but there's never been really any pushback, and it's always been a conversation, or if it's a little bit of a line thing, it's like, oh yeah, sure, whatever you want, and if it's a bigger story thing, then it's a conversation. But those moments have been few and far between.
All right, next question.
Okay.
Sure, let's stand up.
Hello. If the show Superman and Lois is coming to an end, do you know what other upcoming projects you might be attached to later on?
I really don't know. There's something in our contracts called an exclusivity clause, and that is, right now, as long as I'm still on Superman and Lois, TV-wise, I couldn't easily jump onto anything else, whether it's a series or anything like that. So right now, the priority is still Superman and Lois, and we don't know yet. We have been renewed for season 4. There's rumors in both directions. We don't yet know if this would be our final season or not.
All right, and our final question. Oh, sorry, I'm here. Just habit. All right, last question.
What was your thoughts on how Grimm came to an end and the character development of Nick and Adeline's relationship?
I think it kind of ended the way it probably should have. I think some people didn't like the ending. Some people didn't like the ending of The Sopranos. I loved it. I felt like when I was playing Eve, I loved that she was so independent and was just doing her own thing, and I had loved the relationship they had created with Trouble, and I think it wrapped up exactly as it should have, and I think there's certain places they could have gone with the storyline differently. Like if we did do a spin-off or a movie, I know a lot of people have wanted to see like Monroe and Rosalie and their babies, and I know that's a very people are very opinionated, very passionate about who he should have ended up with. But like I say, I'm like, everybody wins, right? So on the show he's with Adeline, in real life we're married with a child. So I think everybody should just be happy. But I love the ending, and it was such an amazing show, and to be able to do 123 episodes was incredible. That doesn't really happen anymore, and I'm so grateful for my time on the show and the friendships I've made with that entire cast.
Well, I think that's a great spot to end it. I think the line that sticks out to me is everyone should be happy. And I think that's
Thank you all for coming. It's so nice to meet everyone here, and especially people who traveled. I really, really appreciate it, and for all of your amazing questions, and come say hi, and I'm just so grateful to be here and to spend this time with all of you.
Yeah, that's right, because you're at your table doing photos and signatures.
Yes,
so definitely get your tokens and do that. And it was an absolute joy. And for your first solo panel, you have done amazing.
Thanks for making it easy for me.
So good.
Yeah, all of you are wonderful, and I hope to meet you at the table and see your faces, because right now you're just blue, purple lights.
Yeah. Well, let's give a final round of applause for Betsy Tulloch. All right, that's it for me. Ben Sorensen's my name. Thanks for partying with us. Head back out into the wild yonder of Supanova. I don't know if it's really wild yonder, but you should check it out anyway.